Hello traders and welcome to today's market update. My name is Nick and I'm going to be joining you today to take a look at the charts in the Forex market to see what's going on, potential trade setups, and also just kind of generally what the market is up to from a technical standpoint. Let's go ahead and jump into it today. Let's start right here with euro dollar, taking a look on the 4-hour time frame. You can see price kind of chopping sideways here, not making a major move either up or down. You can see a little bit of a sideways kind of trading, but we do want to point out one major thing here, which is that across the bottom you can see support did hold nicely here as price did kind of chop off the lows. We formed a multiple bottom that's 1, 2, 3 or 4 or so kind of tests of this low before price did find some sort of bullish support. So not out of the question that we see some continued movement to the upside there on euro dollar. In fact, one major level to potentially look for is just maybe coming back to retest this level here, which was a previous level of support, actually broke through and now may act as potential resistance as price makes its way up. If it can get up to those zones, we'll see how price can react there. Let's go ahead and move on to GBP USD, guys, which is a big one today to talk about because we've had some serious stuff going on with the pound, some really big movements to the downside as sellers have come in heavy on all pound pairs as prices trading lower, actually breaking through a lot of long-term lows. Now what you can see here is that this low here actually got taken out recently, as well as kind of this more recent low. All of this level structure kind of getting broken down in the last few days as the pound has sold off significantly from those lows. So with that said, you can see that we are seeing a little bit of a rally today, but I think that it's a little bit dangerous of a call out to try and buy the pound right now, just because of how much kind of breaking down the pound has been doing recently. So as this goes forward, you know, the only major level I've really kind of seen is even on the weekly time frame. You can see if we back it up all the way to around this area here, if we just kind of draw this shape here, you can see if I just zoom over, you can see this long-term low is a significant level to consider looking at. You can see we did kind of form a head and shoulders or a triple bottom there, forming ultimately kind of a little movement to the upside, or actually a pretty big movement to the upside, followed by this kind of retracement back down to that same very level now that we are currently seeing price come into. So it's not out of the question that we see a potential bounce off of this long-term low. But personally, I think the better play is to wait for some sort of confirmation, look for some sort of evidence that price may be ready to reverse to the upside here on the pound dollar chart. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at USD JPY, actually getting resistance up here across this top. You can see that this major level here did come into action, right? We did get some resistance forming here as price traded up into these recent highs. You can see right around that 108.95 level, sellers stepped into this market and pushed price back down. We'll ultimately see if price will want to come back up to test this again. In the context of this overall downtrend, what you can see is that, again, we've talked about this in the previous kind of market updates, but what you'll see is that price did break above. We've kind of retested here and made a movement higher. The big thing for bulls that if they're looking to get long is we want to see some sort of break of the significant structure, right? Preferably if you're wanting to be long here, you want to see some sort of break and potentially get involved on a retest. Just an idea there on USD JPY, looking at that daily time frame. You can see that we did shift from a downward market environment to somewhat of a sideways market environment. You can see that this general area here acting as our relative resistance and these lows acting as our relative support as price starts to trade sideways. The question is, can we break above and start to actually form that uptrend? That would be interesting to see, where we potentially have a break of that structure to the high side, retest, and potential continuation long. Let's go ahead and move on to Brent crude oil. We did get a rally here on oil, guys, which is interesting because you can see that this trend line here actually got broken through. But here's what I wanted to point out, is you can see that as price kind of broke through this trend line here, we did actually get a momentary retest of that structure. Now what you can see is if I pull up the sketch pad, you can see we had multiple times where price was selling off at this level. So when price came into it, we initially thought, there'd be some sort of bearish rejection at that level, but that's not what we see. In fact, what we saw is a break and close above that level a retest of this support and actually found buyers in that area to continue the rally to the upside here on Brent crude as price is breaking through this trend line to continue a nice little trend to the upside here overall on Brent crude. Let's take a look at WTI crude. Probably going to be a similar scenario. You can see if we draw that same trend line, you can see, look at that. We have a very nice little breakthrough, short retest, very quick bounce off of that level and continuation of this breakout that we are seeing on oil right now. XAU USD is going to be the next one, guys. Here, taking a look at the daily time frame, what you can see is that we've been talking about this kind of flag pattern that we've talked about on the last couple market updates, and what you'll see is that this kind of flagpole, kind of flag here and then breakout is actually kind of playing out. Now, it would not be out of the question, in my opinion, to see gold test those highs again. So if we do make a movement up to this area here, we could see, kind of price make a movement up there just to kind of continue that flag pattern. Ultimately, would not be out of the question even to see that break and continue higher, as gold has been on an absolute momentum push. And a lot of times what you see with that is continuation in that pattern for some time. So it's not out of the question that we see that kind of break on gold. Let's go ahead and take a look at euro pound, guys. The pound, again, making some massive movements here that I want to cover in today's market update. What you'll see if I go to the daily time frame is we had an absolutely massive break of structure here. You can see this kind of multiple top area held as resistance for some time, but actually just broke through recently, with the pound forming some really bearishness. You can see that causes the euro pound to go up, right? Because the euro goes up and the pound goes down. But looking here on a euro pound, if I actually back it up to the weekly, I think we only really have some major resistance if we look at the weekly time frame, maybe even coming into this area here, which price is not currently trading up to just yet. So again, multiple tops on this kind of long-term resistance, but currently price is kind of still traveling between major zones, as here is our kind of now major level of support as price has broken through. You can see that level here. We'll make that light green. And you can see overall price kind of traveling between these two zones. So not any sort of decisive direction here on euro pound, but if price can come up into these areas, we might see sellers step in. Same with down here, we might get people who are looking to trade some sort of a pullback on euro pound to the long side. Okay, GBP JPY is going to be our next one, guys. What you can see here on GBP JPY is we are currently testing a very significant low. Now, if I kind of move my camera over just a little bit, what you'll see here on pound yen is back here. We had a major flash crash right around December, start of January of this year. You can see we did get a major flash crash on GBP JPY. Now, interestingly enough, price is currently trading right around that low here on, kind of present day. So we're back down all the way to that low after all of that rally. We did see a significant fall in the pound yen and currently testing that level to see, hey, can buyers hold this level? Are we going to get some sort of a bounce here on pound yen? Should be interesting to see how that one plays out. Pound Aussie is the last one I want to talk about today, guys, which is interesting because what you can see is this level here is currently coming into play. Now, this is a potential level of resistance as we have seen it act already kind of here. What you can see is that multiple times back here, price was buying off of these lows, right? But when price broke through recently on the pound weakness, you can see on the retest, we did get some sort of resistance. So we may see on the intraday level that continues for the remainder of today's price action, maybe even coming into tomorrow. Guys, thanks so much for joining me on today's market update. I hope you got something out of it, and we will see you next time.